Julian Love, our buddy from the Giants, back again every week here on the show. Julian, Tiki, and Tierney, how you doing there, buddy?
Doing well. How you guys?
We're good.
How did that
good,
feel?
man.
I mean, I think I don't think I've had any ties in my life, because it was different, tie-breaking rules. But how did that feel?
Yeah, I mean, it felt weird to say the least. Before I unpack that, what did he say? He's that previous guy. He said he was across the street from Yankee Stadium as a Mets fan. I heard he said he was a Jets fan. So I don't know what's going on. You should have been hung up on that.
Hey, listen, no. Hey, listen, Love. I mean, he was I'm a Jets fan. Take it easy, buddy.
Julian, he was defending me because we were watching Japan and Croatia.
No, not we. You were.
I was watching Japan and Croatia, and the goalie for Croatia stopped 3 of 4 penalty kicks, which is like unprecedented. It was epic.
He sounds riveted. Julian's with me. Let's keep the train moving, right, buddy? This guy will digress into soccer if you give him an inch.
I'll be in a rabbit hole for a long time. So, anyway.
So seriously, though, when you guys get in the locker room, I mean, we know Dave's. He's an emotional guy. We love it. He wears his heart on his sleeve. How did you guys unpack that? How did you process that one as a team?
It was very weird. I've never been a part of that before. You kind of bust your ass for, competitive atmosphere. I thought we did a lot of things right. The energy was great that day. And yeah, the game just ends, which is a tough scene. It just felt like, I don't know, anticlimactic almost. But then when you go back on tape, you really, Davis was consistent. He wasn't, super one way or the other. But the message was that, like, instead of this is what stuff that we did to win, or this stuff that we didn't do to lose, it was like, this stuff we could have done to maybe swing the tides. And so you're searching for plays that really made the difference.
Yeah. Well, let's face it. You play 60 minutes. I'm sure you've kind of gotten into the tape by now. Is that a game that you felt that you absolutely should have won? Do you think that you played better than those guys?
Yeah, I think in all of my years of playing football, I feel like the momentum, the juice, the energy, I feel like there's opportunities to win that game. We had the whole second half. I felt like, this is our game to win. And, there's moments we could have won up 14 instead of 7 and made it, put it a little bit out of reach. But, yeah, it was very weird. I felt like there's opportunities we definitely left out there.
Yeah, I know. And as fans, we'll point to the Feliciano penalty, which was nonsense, that backed the offense up and obviously ended up punting and then went down and scored. Washington did, and it led to what ultimately became overtime. But, you talk about the takeaways every week. And I think Coach Dable, does a great job at that. This is what you need to correct. This is what we did really well. The takeaway from this week is, as good as you guys have been at finishing, you can't get complacent about it, especially at this point in the season. We talked to you last week about this is really a playoff atmosphere. I mean, from here on out, it really is like every game's a playoff game for you all.
Yeah, no, it is. And really the message at least I was trying to convey and trying to lead the defense in was starting fast. And, we didn't start the game fast, which we got to do better at. I think that's something that we were always doing well at first, whatever games of the season. We didn't start the game as fast, but then we started the second half pretty fast. And so that's something you build off of, okay, we got that kind of flow going again. Our third down numbers on defense were down, which that's the staple of who we've been. And so there's some things that I really needed to see from us, trying to just encourage and have some good juice, some good energy to show. And so you leave off on kind of a promising note, even though you don't get the win. It's all right, we got back to who we were. Now we just got to make those freaking plays that just win the game for us.
Yeah, you do. And it starts this weekend against the Philadelphia Eagles, who have just found ways to win. I mean, they've had one lapse, and that was it all season long. As you think about attacking what Jalen Hurts brings and the A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, how do you get your mind around slowing down what they've been able to do all season long? And is there anything that you key on with the Eagles that we could see?
Yeah, it's it's a challenge playing these guys because they run a college-style offense, and with Hurts and his run ability, but also you have guys like A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, guys who are just game wreckers in their own right, and so it's a challenge. And really, this game is going to be about guys winning their matchups. It's going to be our front being dominant, getting some penetration, and disrupting their run game. And it's going to be on our DBs to step up and really just play together and create takeaways. I think when you saw the game that they lost, that's what the story was. Washington forced takeaways, and so that's what we're going to have to do to win this game.
Listen, that all makes sense. I think you guys really need, of all the weeks that you guys really need your running attack offensively to come through and crank out yards and keep that clock bleeding, keep that offense off
No
the
doubt.
field. That to me, that's the key right there, Julian.
No doubt. That's kind of how I watch college ball. I'm a Notre Dame guy, but that's kind of how I think the Michigan team that just made the playoffs. That's kind of how they operate. When they're at their best, that's what they do. And so, to see that kind of old school blue blood football is what we need to get to. Like you said, we got to keep that offense off the field. And I believe in our we're getting some guys back, some old linemen back, and so. Yeah, Saquon is going to need to have a day.
Yeah, and Daniel Jones as well. He was really good last week. Fumble aside, he was really good at running with the ball as well. Let me take you aside for a second, because it's now at that point where it's playoff time, right? And you have the Eagles and you have Washington, and I'm wondering, as you guys start to get a little bit healthier, the feeling that I used to espouse about this Giants team week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 or so is, all right, just build culture, man. It's all about, doing the little things. We're building for next year. When did that go away? And when are you, no, let's live for right now?
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, you kind of got to think of it short term, but
yeah,
I mean, you're kidding yourself if you're not, thinking about the long-term success of this team. And what it has been in the history of the Giants has been just tough football, tough smash, just basically it's reminiscent, or not reminiscent. It's complimentary of the community. It's just a tough smash mouth team, and that's what at our core we have to be. And obviously, nowadays with the game, you got to be able to air the ball out. You got to be able to play a little bit of finesse game as well, and that's something we have to maintain. Play little things, but also big plays help. And those flashy things sometimes are needed. And so as we build this thing, you want to have a one week at a time mindset, but you also want to, I know Shane and Dayball are building for what we want to be in these next few years as well.
Yeah, you're a human being. I mean, you could still be immersed in the task at hand and not trip over thinking about the future here and there. You guys are smart enough to compartmentalize that. I get it. And it's funny, you talk about the history of the Giants and the NFC East and the battles and all the different iterations, and every generation of Giants have had different rivalries that are hotter. Like sometimes it's the Dallas Giants that's white hot. Sometimes it's Giants Philly. Sometimes it's Washington Giants. You've been around a couple of years now, mostly down years outside of this. To you, who's your biggest rival in the division?
I mean, that's so tough to say. I would say, like you said, the hate is there probably most with Dallas.
Okay.
But Philly doesn't follow too far behind. In the past few years, the record might not show it, but since I've been here, the games have always been kind of close, where we've had a lead late in the game and we just haven't finished the job against Philly. And so it's rivalry where I kind of got that hate. And that I set the swagger, set chip on my shoulder, because I don't like, it's city versus city. I'm a New York guy now, and so I don't vibe with what they got going on over there. And
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think those two probably are at the top right now. And then Washington, in their own right, you don't like them as well, but I think the other two teams are a little more.
Look at you carving out that territoriality.
No,
You're saying this is my city.
Yeah, I think it's different for everybody.
I love it.
Like for me, it was Cowboys because I was at the time Redskins fan, now Commanders, but I was a Redskins fan growing up, so the Cowboys were the hated team. And then I went to the Giants, so it was still the Cowboys. And then the Redskins, because they didn't draft me, it's different. It's different for every guy. But you find your motivation in that. And so as you think about this weekend and the Eagles, the motivation is clearly there. One, because you hate them, but two, it's like they're the king of the hill, right? You have to knock them off in order to get to where you want to be, both now and then ultimately at the end of the season.
No, without a doubt. I mean, they're right now, many could see them as the best team in the league, and so you're really pissed off at that because they're in your division, and you want to make a statement. And so we're going to come out and we're going to fight the way we always do, and we're going to play with swagger and energy because this is a division opponent. They may be beating these other teams, but we have to make a mark on them ourselves.
Yep.
So that's what it is. And like you said, like every year, you kind of have that chip on your shoulder for that top team. Some years it may be, Dallas. Some, in the past it might have been Washington, and right now it's Philly. And so all eyes are on them, ready to attack. because we're going to need to.
You know, I have one for you. It's kind of a bigger picture thing. And I mean, everybody loves Daboll's energy and his fire, and he's a human being. He's not one of these pre-programmed robots that just spits out numbers that drives us crazy. I can't stand that. I need a human being, especially for a sport like football. But he is very, very intense. Is that can you be that kind of coach in the NFL like that on a week-to-week basis? And I'm sure he's very similar in practice. For 10 years, 12 years, or is there a shelf life on that kind of energy?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I would imagine, like, at some point you're like, I got to chill out, just because I'm getting up there in age. But for him, I don't know. He has that passion and he shows that fire. He gets, really competitive. But for me, it's never really anything, more than that. Like, I know him as the jokester still. And so when you have that image of him, like when he's fired up, you're like, okay, like he's just yelling right now. He's compassionate. He wants to win. It's for a common good. I feel like that's how most of us feel. And so, I feel like from a morale perspective, we can deal with that for, a long time. For him, I don't know. Maybe he'll need to, to work on the food he's eating or something like that to maintain.
Hey, Julian, we saw that you're lobbying, and people should vote for you for the Pro Bowl. You deserve it, dude. 85 snaps you had defensively yesterday. Oh, and by the way, you played 20 snaps of special teams as well. So, I mean, you're grinding, man, and it's a testament that we have you on every week. You speak so perfectly about the issues going on in the locker room, and you're honest, and we just want to say we appreciate you, and good luck with the Pro Bowl voting. So all you Giant fans out there, go find the way and vote for Julian for the Pro Bowl. He deserves it.
Well said. Well said, buddy.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Julian.
You got it. Great ambassador for the team, man. We appreciate you, Julian. We'll get you next week. There he is, Julian Love, right here on the Fan.